My neighbor knocked on my door and asked, "Why do you mow your lawn with scissors at 4 a.m. every Sunday?" I stared at Mrs. Peterson through my screen door, coffee mug frozen halfway to my lips. "I don't mow my lawn with scissors. That's insane." She shifted uncomfortably on my front porch, clutching her robe tighter against the morning chill. "Well, someone does. Every Sunday at exactly 4 in the morning, I hear this snip, snip, snip sound coming from your yard. It wakes up my whole house." I glanced past her toward my front lawn, which looked perfectly normal, green, well-maintained, clearly cut with a regular mower like every other yard on Oakwood Drive. "Mrs. Peterson, I use a gas mower on Saturday afternoons. You've seen me do it dozens of times." Her expression shifted from annoyed to confused as she followed my gaze to the obviously machine-cut grass. "But the sound is definitely coming from your property." My husband heard it too. "What exactly does it sound like?" I asked, stepping outside in my pajamas to get a better view of my yard. Mrs. Peterson made a cutting motion with her fingers, like someone trimming hedges but rhythmic. Snip, 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 for hours. I walked around to my backyard with her following close behind, both of us scanning for anything unusual. That's when I saw them. Tiny perfect circles cut into the grass near my back fence, each about 6 inches in diameter. Not random patches, but precise geometric patterns carved into the lawn with surgical precision. "Mrs. Peterson, I didn't do this." My voice came out smaller than intended. The circles formed a complex design that would have taken hours to create with scissors, and I'd been sound asleep every Sunday at 4 a.m. for the past month. I pulled out my phone and took photos of each circle, documenting the strange pattern while Mrs. Peterson watched nervously. The cuts were too clean for animals, too precise for lawn equipment, too deliberate for vandalism. Someone had been accessing my backyard weekly to create these designs while I slept. "Have you seen anyone in my yard?" I asked, but she shook her head. Her bedroom window faced the front of my house, not the back. I walked to my rear gate and found what I was looking for. Fresh scratches around the lock mechanism, tiny metal shavings on the ground, evidence someone had been picking the lock repeatedly. My stomach dropped as I realized a stranger had been entering my property for weeks without my knowledge. "Mrs. Peterson, I need to check something inside." I ran to my security system panel and pulled up the motion detector logs. Every Sunday for the past 6 weeks, the backyard sensor had triggered at exactly 3:58 a.m., then again around 7:30 a.m. But I dismissed these as false alarms from neighborhood cats. I scrolled through the digital records, finding the same pattern week after week. Someone had been studying my routine, waiting for me to fall into deep sleep before beginning their mysterious lawn art project. The precision of the timing suggested they knew my schedule better than I did. I called the police while Mrs. Peterson waited in my kitchen, both of us staring out the window at those perfect circles. Officer Bradley arrived within 20 minutes and examined the evidence with growing concern. "This level of precision suggests obsessive behavior," he said, photographing the circles and the damaged gate lock. "Someone's been planning this for weeks, possibly months." He pointed to older scratches around the lock that I'd never noticed. "These marks go back further than 6 weeks. This person's been accessing your property much longer than the lawn cutting." I felt violated in a way I couldn't articulate. Someone had been treating my home as their personal art studio while I slept defenseless inside. The officer recommended changing all my locks immediately and installing motion-activated cameras throughout the backyard. 2 weeks later, my new security cameras captured everything. At exactly 3:58 a.m. on Sunday, a figure in dark clothing climbed over my back fence and began the meticulous process of cutting grass with small crafting scissors. But when I reviewed the footage in daylight, zooming in on the person's face, my world tilted completely. It was my ex-boyfriend Nathan, who I'd broken up with 8 months ago after discovering he'd been secretly filming me in my own bathroom. The same Nathan who'd sworn he'd leave me alone after I'd threatened a restraining order. The same Nathan who apparently still had a key to my back gate from when we'd dated and had been using it to continue violating my space in increasingly elaborate ways. The circles weren't random art. When I printed out photos of all the patterns and arranged them chronologically, they spelled out words. Mine in the first week, forever in the second, watching in the third. Nathan had been leaving me messages in my own lawn, counting on my assumption that the noise was just neighborhood maintenance. Officer Bradley arrested Nathan the following Sunday as he climbed over my fence with his scissors and a flashlight. The investigation revealed he'd been documenting his visits with photos, keeping a detailed journal of my daily routines, and planning to escalate to breaking into my house. Nathan got 18 months in jail for stalking and trespassing. I got new locks, better security cameras, and the knowledge that someone cutting grass at 4 a.m. is never just about lawn care.